ya la la la, ya la la, ya la la la, ya la la, ya la la, ya 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 la la, ya ya ya, ya 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 ya, ya ya ya, ya ya la la, ya la la, ya la la la. Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la. Chag Sameach. Chag Sameach. Thank you for coming this morning, friends. We are a small but mighty group. I wanted to leave my talit out. If you're wearing a talit this morning, you can make the bracha and put it on. But I did need to show you this beautiful art piece that I wear this time. I have 4 talitot, one for each season. Turns out it's very convenient, unless one of them is being dry cleaned. But this one, if you notice, if you're looking carefully, this is the Yam Suf. This is the Sea of Reeds, right here, the purple. And on either end, you can see Miriam and her women dancing over here on either side. And yes, my friends from Chapel Hill, when I left and they knew I was becoming the senior rabbi here, they said, "We're making you a talit, Sharon." And it says, "Ilu finu malei shira kayam," which is one of my favorite passages. It's if only our mouths were full like the songs of the waves, or the song of the sea. So today, and I already made a bracha before, so I'm just going to put it on. Today we're going to witness that moment, maybe for ourselves again, coming back to that, that passage that we made, the sacred passage, which of course we, at our Sederim, if you're at a Seder, we experienced that. We went through the Yam Suf, we went through that narrow passageway, we went all the way across with walls of water on either side of us. And as I said at our Seder here, the key, as some of the commentators say, the key was not getting stuck in the mud, but just keep on going. Just having to go forward. And I feel like any of us who are here today, maybe we're remembering somebody who is dear to us. And that's what brings us to Pesach Yizkor, or to any Yizkor service, because we're remembering that's what Yizkor is. And the getting stuck part of grief is very real. And so there's a little part of us that can go there. Every time we come to Yizkor, it's like, what was it like? Who was I when I lost that person? How much of that is still resonant? In what ways am I still kind of stuck there? And it doesn't have to be a bad kind of stuck either. It can be something that is growth promoting. But I'm very reflective this morning because this is actually a year to the day. I looked back on my calendar, and I knew this about a year ago, that on the Jewish calendar, the day that my father died was Pesach Yizkor. And I was in the hospital room saying goodbye to him as I thought, oh, Bat Ami is leading. And here we are, upside down again, holding our beautiful Bat Ami and her family, and holding grief, and also holding this incredible, beautiful daylight that we see coming through these windows. Every bracha that we have, we are going to try to enumerate, every blessing that we can conceivably come up with. The light helps us maybe we can read the pages a little bit clearer of our own text. So this morning, I'm gonna take us not super rapid fire, but I want us to go through the Shacharit service. This is my plan. Shacharit, boom, boom, boom. We're gonna sing, sing, sing. Then we're gonna get to, we're gonna make a lot of room for Hallel, so we can sing some more, and we're gonna spend a lot of time studying together this morning. We're not gonna take out the Torah, but we are gonna study part of the Haftarah that is for this morning. And the reason I started with us singing Eliyahu Hanavi is because we're gonna talk about the Jewish idea of messianism and why that becomes such a focal point of the Haftarah this morning. So, are we good? And then brunch, Pesach, last bits of Passover. We got this. Okay, I'm so happy you're here. So you should have with you your special Siddur for weekdays and festivals. So we're going to open to page 148. 148. And we're going to read that second passage that comes on the 7th day of Pesach. 148, please read with me this passage. Then Miriam, the prophetess, Aaron's sister, took a timbrel in her hand, and all the women came out after her in dance with timbrels. And Miriam chanted for them, "Sing to Adonai, for God has triumphed gloriously. Horse and driver God hurled into the sea." Page 160, Nisim B'chol Yom. You can follow along with me, or you can just sing Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lesechvi vina lavchin ben yom uvein laila. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, pokeach ivrim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, matir asurim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, zokef kefufim. 162. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, roka haaretz al hamayim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamechin mitzadei gaver. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, malbish harumim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hanoten liya'ef koach. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hama'avir sheinai meinai utenuma me'afapai. 164. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, shasani b'tselem Elohim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, shasani bat chorin. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, shasani Yisrael. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, ozer Yisrael b'gvura. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, oter Yisrael b'tif'ara. And at the top of page 166, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu la'asok b'divrei Torah. And we're going to go to the bottom of the page. Let's say together, O Adonai, our God, let the words of Torah be sweet in our mouths and the mouths of your people Israel, so that we, our descendants, and the descendants of all your people Israel may know you by studying your Torah for its own sake. Blessed are you, Adonai, who teaches Torah to our people Israel. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech, Baruch atah Adonai, hamelamed Torah li'amo Yisrael. Page 174. Ya la la, ya la la, ya la la, Baruch she'amar v'haya ha'olam. Baruch hu, Baruch oseh Vereshit, Baruch Omer ve'oseh, Baruch Gozer u'mekayem, Baruch merachem al haaretz, Baruch merachem al habriot, Baruch meshalem sachar tov lireat, Baruch Chai lad v'kayam lanetzach, Baruch poder u'matzil, Baruch Shemo. Let's read together on 175. Countries grow old and fall apart. Nations decline, torn. Generations grow moss and gather dust. Still, every morning, a chapter of Psalms stands by the window in the synagogue and intones its eternal chant over the world's tears. Maybe that feels a little poignant this morning as we are holding our beloved Israel in mind, our own country here, and the lives of so many people being affected all over the world. All we can hold for them and for all of us is a hope for some sort of peace to come. And for the ability for everyone to say, wait a minute, life is still really wonderful despite the misery, which seems to be intoning, as it were. So let's go and make a hallelujah on page 181, Psalm 150. Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. Bottom. Kol neshama hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Kol neshama hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Page 186. Yishtabach shimcha lad malkeinu ha'el hamelech hagadol ve'hakadosh b'shamayim u'ba'aretz ki lecha na'eh Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei avoteinu v'imotenu shiru shvacha halel ve'zimra ozu memshala netzach gedula u'gevura tihila ve'tiferet kedusha u'malchut Berachot ve'hodaot me'ata v'ad olam Baruch ata Adonai El melech gadol batishpachot El hahodaot Adon haniflaot Habocher b'shirei zimra Melech el chei ha'olamim. Page 187. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah V'yolmad divrach chirutei v'yamlich malchutei b'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayei dechol beit Yisrael b'gala v'zman kariv v'yimeru Amen. Yehei shmei rabbah mevorach le'olam u'almei almaya Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitale v'yitalal shmei dekudsha brichu Le'lamin kol birchata v'shirata Tushbechata v'nechamata Damiran bi'olma v'imeru Amen. Please rise for Baruch, page 188. Baruchu et Adonai hamevorach Baruch Adonai hamevorach le'olam va'ed Baruch Adonai hamevorach le'olam va'ed. Please be seated, everybody. Page 191, a prelude to this beautiful morning, Yotzer Or. Let's read at the top of the page on 191. The world is sunlight, restoring the soul, rejoicing the heart, bringing light to the eyes, more welcome than gold, a Torah from heaven. I have no light to give the morning. My Torah, my special human gift, is words. As I bring my words forth from silence, welcome them, you who redeems the sun from darkness. Baruch ata Adonai, Yotzer HaMeorot. Page 192. Ve'ha'erinenu betoratecha ve'dabek libenu b'mitzvotecha ve'yached levavenu le'ahava u'yira et shemecha ve'lo nevosh ve'lo nikalem ve'lo Veshem Kodshacha Hagadol ve'hanora batachnu Nagila ve'nismecha Bishuatecha והביאנו לשלום מארבע כנפות הארץ, ותוליכנו קוממיות לארצנו. כי אל פועל ישועתך, ובנו בחרת וקרבתנו, לשמך הגדול סלע באמת, להודות לך ולייחדך באהבה. ברוך אתה אדוני הבוחר בעמו ישראל באהבה. Page 194. שמע ישראל, אדוני אלוהינו, אדוני אחד. ברוך שם כבוד מלכותו לעולם ועד. Page 196. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובישעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם אמת. Let's turn to page 203. And let's read in the middle of the page. We'll sing it, because I think it's appropriate. כל העולם כולו גשר צר מאוד, גשר צר מאוד, גשר צר מאוד. The entire world is a narrow bridge. כל העולם כולו גשר צר מאוד, גשר צר מאוד. והעיקר לא לפחד, לא לפחד כלל. והעיקר לא לפחד כלל. Let's read together. The entire world is but a narrow bridge. The most important thing is not to be afraid. So friends, we come to our tefillah, which we will start together, then we'll go into a little bit of silence. There are some special insertions that we'll include. We are going to be starting on page 204. Please rise. Adonai sefatai tiftachu fi agi tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Page 206. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu v'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, v'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, v'Konei Hakol, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן. ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה. Page 208. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי הכל אתה רב להושיע. מוריד הטל, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומי דומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישוע, ונאמן אתה לחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיי הכל. Page 209 at the top. We read together. Your might, O God, renews the earth. With dewdrops of light and blessing, let the earth be illumined and blessed. With dewdrops of joy and delight, let the earth rejoice and sing out. With dewdrops of life and well-being, let the earth be revived and improved. With dewdrops of redemption, let the earth be redeemed. Livracha velo liklala, for blessing and not for curse. Lechaim velo lamavet, for life and not death. Lesova velo lerazon, for abundance, not want. We turn to page 212. נקדש את שמך בעולם, כשם שמקדישים אותו בשמי מרום, ככתוב על יד נביאך, וקרא זה אל זה ואמר, קדוש, 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 אדוני צבאות, מלוך כל הארץ, כבודו. אדיר, אדירנו אדוני, אדוננו מאדיר שמך בכל הארץ. ברוך שכבוד אדוני ממקומו. אחד הוא אלוהינו, הוא אבינו, הוא מלכנו, הוא מושיענו והוא ישמיענו, ברחמיו לעיני כל חי. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, ימלוך אדוני לעולם, אלוהיך ציון, לדור ודור, הללויה. לדור ודור נגיד גודלך, ולנצח נצחים קדושתך נקדיש, ושבחך אלוהינו מפינו לא ימוש, לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני, האל הקדוש. We continue on our own till page 228, at which time you can be seated, or whenever you feel like you're completely done. Shalom tova uvracha chen v'chesed v'racham. 226. Sim shalom tova uvracha chen v'chesed v'rachamim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael amecha. Barchenu yotzrenu kulanu ke'echad be'or panecha kivor panecha natata lanu Adonai Eloheinu Torat chesed chayim ve'ahat chesed utzedaka uvracha ve'rachamim ve'chayim ve'shalom. Baruch atah Adonai, hamevarech et amo Yisrael b'shalom. Fake it till you make it up here sometimes. Okay, let us turn everybody now to page 294 for Hallel. And I sometimes have to remind myself that I did not always know Hallel. Actually, we're gonna do a little bit longer Hallel. Is that okay with everybody? Let's go to Bet. We're gonna go to Hallel Bet, which is actually on page, we're gonna start on page 296. I did not know Hallel because you have to be in it enough to get to pick up the melodies, but I feel like this crew always shouts it out, so I really want to hear you this morning. I think the world needs a little bit more singing, off key. Okay, I'm counting on us. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu likro et ha'halel. Let's turn to page 298. Betzet Yisrael mitzrayim, Bet Yaakov me'am lo'ez. Betzet Yisrael mitzrayim, Bet Yaakov me'am lo'ez. Hayta Yehuda lekodsho, Yisrael mamshelotav. Hayam rav ayanos, hayarden yisov leachor, heharim rakedu che'elim, gevaot kivnei tzon. Here's the call and response. Malecha hayam kitanus hayarden tisov leachor, heharim tirkedu chelim, gevaot kivnei tzon, milifnei adom chuli aretz, milifnei Eloah Yaakov, hahofchi hatzur, agamayim, chalamish mish lemaino mayim. Page 299. Adonai zecharanu yevarech, yevarech et Beit Yisrael, yevarech et Beit Aaron, yevarech yirei Adonai, haktanim im hagdolim, Yosef Adonai alechem, alechem ve'abenechem, beruchim atem l'Adonai, עושה שמיים וארץ, השמיים שמיים לאדוני, והארץ נתן לבני אדם, לא המתים יהללויה, ולא כל יורדי דומה, ואנחנו נברך יה, מעתה ועד עולם, מעתה ועד עולם, hallelujah. Okay, where are we now? Let's go to the top of page 301 and read together in English. Praise Adonai, all you nations. Extol God, all you peoples, for great is God's steadfast love towards us. Adonai's faithfulness endures forever. And we'll jump down to the Hebrew. Hodu l'Adonai ki tov ki le'olam chasdo. Yamarna ki Israel ki le'olam chasdo. Yomru na Beit Aaron ki le'olam chasdo. Yomru na yirei Adonai ki le'olam chasdo. Min hamitzar karatia anani b'merchavia. Min hamitzar karatia anani b'merchavia. Anani b'merchavia. Anani b'merchavia. We're going to jump to page 303. Pitchu li sharei tzedek avovam modeya. Pitchu li sharei tzedek avovam modeya. Adonai tzadikim yavovo ze hashar l'Adonai tzadikim yavovo. Odecha ki anitani vatehi li lishua. Odecha ki anitani vatehi li lishua. Even masu habonim hayta lerosh pina. Even masu habonim hayta lerosh pina. Me'et Adonai hayta zot היא נפלאת בעינינו, מאת אדוני הייתה זאת, היא נפלאת בעיני 304 זה היום עשה אדוני. נגילה ונשמחה בו, זה היום עשה אדוני. נגילה ונשמחה בו. We jump across the page to page 305. Let us read this together in the spirit of Hallel, thanking God for every possible mystery of this world and our part in it. All your works shall praise you, Adonai our God, and your faithful ones, the righteous who do your will. And all your people, the house of Israel, thank you in joyous song, and bless, praise, glorify, exalt, extol, sanctify, and proclaim the sovereignty of your name. For it is good to give you thanks and to sing praises to your name, because throughout all time to eternity you are God. Praise to you, Adonai, sovereign, praised in song. We're now going to go to, at this point, friends, thank you for that beautiful singing. We are now going to be doing a little Torah study. Are we up for this? Am I going like at a good clip for everybody? Or am I going too fast? Okay, I hope not. I do have something I'd like us to read together, and I actually want to give some full time. Anybody want to help me pass out some of this stuff? Anybody? Thank you, Bev. Okay, thank you so much. I came across something that I just thought, we don't get a lot of exposure to talking about Mashiach, the Messiah coming. And I found this beautiful passage from, it was a writing by, thank you, a great rabbi who I think was known to some of the people here. Here you go. His name was Rabbi Harold Schulweis, and he was the rabbi of Valley Beth Shalom in good old Encino, California, where some of us hail from, or near. And I really appreciate, Rabbi Schulweis has been gone for a long time, but he was a very esteemed conservative rabbi in Los Angeles area and throughout the conservative movement and pretty much every movement. He was a very, very strong, thank you, Bev, thinker. And I feel grateful for the legacy that he left in just this one writing. So everybody got a copy? Okay, I'm definitely not wanting to be the only person speaking during this. Can I put that out there? Great. And so what I actually am hoping to do is get through the whole content here. It's 4 pages, but I think we can do it. And what I'd like us to do is, I took the liberty of highlighting or bolding some of the key elements of the paragraphs that you see in front of you. But actually, before I even continue with this, what I want to do is get you a copy, is there anybody out there, of the Chumash. So I'm going to roll in the Chumashim so that you can open to the Haftarah that we're going to read today. One moment. Thank you. And I still have to find the page. Thank you, babe. Oh, it's heavy. Okay. Thank you. So we're going to go, everybody gets a copy. And we're going to go to the Haftarah, which is read today, if I can find it, hopefully soon. It's a special Haftarah that comes from the book of Isaiah. We're going to be looking at chapter 11. And what I regret not doing is finding the page beforehand, but I will find it. Here we go. There are special haftarot for the, let's see. They come just at the back. And if not, it's really okay. We're getting close, okay. I think I got it. Haftarah Parah, Shabbat HaChodesh. Okay, thank you for your patience, friends. Ant. Interestingly enough, now that I pass those out, they only have Yom Rishon Shel Pesach, so the first day of Pesach. Chol HaMoed Pesach, hang on, we're getting there. Okay. Thanks for your patience. And now, they have second day of Pesach. You know what? I apologize. Yom Shvi'i Shel Pesach, but here they're quoting 2 Samuel instead of Isaiah. Okay, put your books away. I don't think they have it in here, and I'm really sorry. But what I will say is I'm going to read obnoxiously from my phone, if you will. Because I think this is a passage that you all know, and we should, sorry about that, Sue Ellen, et al., all my friends. One thing that I really am appreciative of, aside from the Safaria app, which has everything, everything we need right here at our fingertips, including the book of Isaiah, chapter 11. Let's get chapter 11 here. Okay. And I'm not going to read this. If anybody feels comfortable reading from my phone, I would love you to read, and I'm just going to make it English. English only, please. Okay. Chapter 11 from the book of Isaiah starts by telling us about something that's very essential to Judaism, but not necessarily something that we reflect on a lot as Reform Jews necessarily. The editors of the Siddur that we have, that we go from, first it was the gates of prayer. That was the old version. Even before then, the Union Prayer Book. And it had a lot of things that were omitted, including references to Mashiach ben David, the Messiah who's related to David, the King David, and who's related to, and also calling upon Eliyahu, who is also the harbinger of the Messiah. It was thought by Reform Jews, the classical Reform Jews that came over, and many of them were coming from the old country, Germany, and making sense of a world where they felt like they didn't want to depend on Mashiach coming. They wanted to be essentially assimilated, especially into America. And there were lots of reasons that they decided Mashiach, the concept of the Messiah, was not essential to our being Reform Jews. But it is a really powerful idea, of course. So I want us to first read how it shows up in the Haftarah. Anybody want to read for me? Anyone? I'll give you my phone. Thank you, Sue Ellen. You can even keep my phone. I don't want it anymore. So read, let's go down to... Yeah, you're going to go down through 10. Okay, so start up
at the top through 10.
At the top, yeah. All right. Oh, and here. You're pretty loud. Okay, be loud. Okay, so Sue Ellen's going to read from the beginning of chapter 11 of Isaiah. Thank you. What were the words thank you, that stuck out to you? We're describing here when that fateful day comes with the presence of a very special human being who is going to herald this new era. What does the era look like? Just shout out the answers here. What's the world going to be full of when Mashiach comes? Peace. Everybody gets along. It's tranquil. Love. Yeah, love. All the good ones. Justice. Tzedek. Justice. What's that? Equity. All the bad ones you're not allowed to say anymore. Diversity, equity, inclusion. Don't. And the craziest thing ever, the lion shall lie down with the lamb. These opposites will be able to coexist. The Palestinians and the Israelis, the Iranians and the Americans, this world that we cannot even imagine. Our tradition says you must imagine it. You must. It's essential for us as Jews to imagine a better world. If you don't have that, you don't have hope. If you don't have hope, you ain't got nothing. Faith will go a certain amount. We have to put our faith in God. But this day is not going to come without some urgency behind it, and each of us has a part to play in it. So let's start reading. We're not going to read all of it. I take that back. But we'll read parts of this, and then I want you to take it home and just enjoy it for the rest of Chag. Our sages spoke of two Passovers, says Rabbi Schulweis. One is called Pesach Leshavar, She'avar, the Passover of the past, and the other is called Pesach Le'atid, Latid, the Passover of the future. One is historic and informs us of what has already happened. The other is futuristic. It tells you what can happen. The Haftarah for the 8th day of Passover comes from Isaiah. The rabbis chose this section from the prophet Isaiah because it deals with the future, and in particular, with the Messiah. And he then gets into a little bit of an explanation of why this idea of Messiah, which has been so pivotal to Christian tradition and to Jewish tradition, why they're so different. Does anybody want to read this next paragraph? This is the Jewish dream of the Messiah. Go ahead. Thank you, John.
This is the Jewish dream. Can you hear me back there?
Oh, yeah. You're good. You're good.
This is the Jewish dream of the Messiah. The Christian concept of Messiah is rooted in Jewish prophetic tradition, but is markedly different. The name Christ is the Greek translation of Moshiach, one who is anointed. In the Bible, Messiah refers to anyone, any person charged with a divine office, whether it be king, priest, or prophet. In Isaiah chapter 45, the name of Messiah is conferred upon the Gentile king Cyrus of Persia, who conquered Babylonia and who released the Jews from the country of their expulsion and allowed them to return to Israel.
Will you read one more paragraph? Thank you.
The Jewish story of Messiah is significantly different from the Christian story of Christ. While both ideas express the religious imagination of redemption, the Jewish Messiah is not supernatural, not immortal, not infallible. The Jewish Messiah does not come to save or redeem the damned souls of individuals. The Jewish Messiah is natural, mortal, fallible. The messianic icon comes to save lives, not souls, to free people from the bondage of oppression. Jewish messianic redemption will not come from a supernatural being descending from the heavens.
Thank you, Joni. So, one of the key things that we should know is that when Isaiah is referred to among our Christian brothers and sisters, it's often to describe the actual suffering servant. And that's a quote from Isaiah. God's suffering servant, that is an exact reference to who they deem to be Jesus Christ. And yet, right away, Rabbi Schulweis is keen on pointing out that Messiah is not our Messiah. What is different about the Jewish idea from what you just heard? What are some of the essential differences that Jews believe in, if we can reduce it down? A human being, as opposed to supernatural, right? Son of God, right? I mean, we're all God's children, but we're talking about a human being who heralds in this era. Any other things that we should point out about this person? The essential difference.
Saving human lives now, not a future soul.
Okay, great. And that idea of original sin, right, completely is upturned when you come to the Jewish notion of we're not born into sin. We are born with free will. And that is also a very, very key difference. We're not about saving souls. We're about saving lives. It's very much this worldly, which takes a lot of the luster out of it. As a kid, I was always like, I'll have what they're having. That sounds great. That sounds great. I would like to have my soul cleansed and redeemed and for everything to be great and promise of the future. The Jews are very, very rooted in the here and now. Let's keep going. Anybody? David, thank you.
I am struck by
Yeah.
the sentence that says in Isaiah chapter 45, the name of Messiah is conferred upon a Gentile king, Cyrus of Persia, who conquered Babylonia and who released the Jews. There's no requirement here to accept a different faith paradigm. This can be conferred on anyone, the term Messiah, and you don't need a birthright or an acceptance of something else in order to have that be given to you.
I love it. I love it. That the most, this is like,
I
yeah.
just need to ask.
Yeah.
So it seems as though in this, while Isaiah is speaking to the Jewish people, this is, as the Christians would say, open to anyone, but there's no preconditions.
Yeah. So that means who could be Mashiach? Anybody in this room. I know who you are. Yeah. And you don't have to be Jewish to be the Messiah, as Cyrus proved. So this is like, what is that to teach us then? I mean, among other things. Be good.
I'll answer.
Answer.
And that means I could be walking down the street, and the person that's walking toward me
Yeah.
could, in fact, be the Messiah, and I may not recognize that person.
I know. You've been friends with me for how long? And you still haven't said, Sharon, you're the Messiah? You knew it was me all along. It's coming. I love that. I love that. Thank you for making that distinction for us, because this is a very, very here and now, so proximate to us, but there's a lot that stands in our way. Okay. I actually want us to skip a little teeny bit. You can look at some of the highlights that I've bulleted here. But there are some beautiful connections that he makes to Pesach also. One I just want to read in the middle of page 2. Consider, he says, the way in which the rabbis, the sages, structured the Torah. The Passover is more than history. Its major focus is upon the future. We begin and end the Passover with searching, b'dikah. On the evening of Passover, we search for the chametz, the leavening. And at the end of the Seder, we search for the matzah, for the afikomen. That search is called tzafun, that which is hidden. Something hidden must be retrieved, something that is hidden in us. The search for the afikomen is not a game to keep the children awake. It is to remind us that the world is not yet redeemed. In the Christian view, holy history is vertical and horizontal, intersects the cross. Heilsgeschichte. Thank you. Heilsgeschichte? Thank you. Holy history is over. The Messiah has already come, and our task is to believe sola fide, only faith, that he came, that he is the Son of God, and will save humanity from its inherited sin. Now, there is a Jewish folk story which tells of the rabbi who is told by his disciples that the Mashiach has arrived. Come, Rabbi, and greet him. The rabbi draws the curtain of his window open. He looks out and tells the disciples, no, dear children, the Mashiach has not come. What did the rabbi see through the window? He saw homelessness and poverty, fighting and jealousy and hatred. He knew that the Mashiach had not arrived. The rabbi drew his wisdom from the celebrated Talmudic insight: if you hold in your hand a seedling and someone says, come and greet the Messiah, first bend down, plant the seedling in the earth, and then go to greet the Messiah. Manna will not come from heaven. Manna will grow out of the earthly efforts of raising food for the hungry. Manna grows from the earth. The motzi is a result of God's gift of sun, soil, and water, and our transformation of the given, which he said so beautifully. And I try to say every time I have the kids here and we're making motzi, I'm like, this little challah that you're about to eat, this delicious whatever it is that you're about to consume, this was a partnership. Does anybody hear that? This is a partnership. This is foundational. We have to understand, hamotzi lechem min haaretz. You, God, are the one who brings forth bread from the earth, but not without partnership. And that's the essential point that Rabbi Schulweis is trying to point out here. He says something is hidden within us. I love that. I had never heard that interpretation before. Something deep hidden that needs to be watered, it's only going to flourish if we take care of this seed. And we got to plant it right now. It's urgent. We're not going to just go run out and try to bring the Messiah without helping the homeless and those who are in poverty. It just can't happen. And it is not, I think that we're so used to Instagramming these little, bits of chesed and mitzvot that we do, that it takes away from, it diminishes the power that is happening here. This idea, this messianic dream is only going to come with us. It does not happen without us. And without every single person understanding they might actually be Mashiach. You might actually be Mashiach. If there's not that interplay, we got nothing. So I want to skip a little bit to the end. Okay, it's such a beautiful piece that I hope you will read the entire thing. We're going to go to the final page where it says, in a celebrated passage in the Talmud Sanhedrin, Rav Yoshua ben Levi asked, when will the Messiah come? Go and ask him yourself, was the reply. Where is he sitting? At the entrance of the city of Rome. And by what sign may I recognize him? He is sitting among the poor lepers, and he is binding and rebinding their bandages. When he heard that, Rav Yoshua went and greeted him, saying, peace be upon thee, master and teacher. When will you come? And the Mashiach answered, today. On the next day, Rav Yoshua complained, he spoke falsely to me, stating that he would come today, but he has not. And Eliyahu answered him, this is what he said to me, today, if you will hear his voice. The Messiah will not come without our beginning to change the world. It is we, the sons and daughters of the Messiah, who are mandated. This is written in 2004, so the problems have changed. It is we, the sons and daughters of the Messiah, who are mandated to bind the wounds of the lepers, bind and rebind the sufferers of AIDS, loosen the fetters of the enslaved in Sudan, seek peace in a trembling world, and hasten the Messianic era. Like Passover, we recite the Yizkor, not only to remember the past, but to remember the future. Those we remember loved us, and we return their love by living out their noblest dreams. Their immortality is grounded in our morality. I mean. Thoughts? Any thoughts before we go into Yizkor? Amalia. Yes. What's the difference for you? You said, so it would be not Goel but Geula, right? Instead of being a person, an era, a time of redemption. the person is vague to you. And it's a little bit strange to think of any human being, because we are so flawed. And if this person is to bring in this era of perfection, whatever that means, right? Peace. You would imagine that that person comes with the contours of perfection as opposed to this mess of humanity. However, it positions you interestingly. You know, it's an interesting sort of relationship, back to David's point about like anybody. It could be anybody, even ourselves, any other. It's everybody. Oh, that tipping point would be so great. Yes. Oh, I love that. So, when enough people behave in that way, see themselves as being that essential element that becomes the tipping point, we go from being Goel, the Redeemer, to the time of redemption, Geula. Ken Yehi Ratzon, may it be so. And I'm so moved by his final line that, you know, the people that we love who have passed away, as we go into Yizkor, their immortality is grounded in our morality. That connection, you know, and you do mitzvot sometimes bischut in, you know, with the merit in mind of the person that you have loved, which is a beautiful, beautiful Jewish tradition. We're going to make sure that every mitzvah we do is somehow connected to them. Let us go to Yizkor, dear friends. And as we turn to page 310, we remember those so dear to us. And we begin by reading on page 311. Let's read together. Birth is a beginning, and death a destination, and life is a journey, from childhood to maturity, and youth to age, from innocence to awareness and ignorance to knowing, from foolishness to discretion, and then perhaps to wisdom, from weakness to strength, or strength to weakness, and often back again. From health to sickness, and back we pray to health again. From offense to forgiveness, from loneliness to love, from joy to gratitude, from pain to compassion, and grief to understanding, from fear to faith, from defeat to defeat to defeat, until looking backward or ahead, we see that victory lies not at some high place along the way, but in having made the journey stage by stage a sacred pilgrimage. Birth is a beginning and death a destination, but life is a journey from birth to death to life everlasting. Page 312. Mizmor leDavid, Adonai roi lo echsar, Binot sheyarbitzeni, al mei menuchot ינעלני. נפשי ישובב, ינחני במעגלי צדק, למען שמו. גם כי אלך בגיא צל מוות, לא יירא רע, כי אתה עמדי, שבטך ומשענתך המה ינחמוני. תערוך לפני שולחן נגד צורריי. דשנת ושמן ראשי כוסי רוויה. אך טוב וחסד ירדפוני כל ימי חיי, כל ימי חיי. ושבתי בבית אדוני לאורך ימים. אדוני רואי לא אחסר. Let's read together. A psalm of David. Adonai is my shepherd, I lack nothing. God makes me lie down in green pastures. God leads me to water in places of repose. God renews my life. God guides me in right paths, as befits God's name. Though I walk through a valley of deepest darkness, I fear no harm, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You spread a table for me in full view of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil. My drink is abundant. Only goodness and steadfast love shall pursue me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of Adonai for many long years. As we turn to page 314. Shiviti Adonai lenegdi tamid, ki mimini balemot, lachen samach libi, veyagel kevodi, af besari yishkon levetach. Together we say, I am ever mindful of Adonai's presence. God is at my right hand, I shall never be shaken. So my heart rejoices, my whole being exalts, and my body rests secure. For you will not abandon me to Sheol, or let your faithful one see the pit. You will teach me the path of life. In your presence is perfect joy. Delights are ever in your right hand. We turn to page 316, and we rise as we are able, taking some time quietly anywhere in the room you would like to be. You can move away from people, you can be in your own place, or you can stand right where you are, as we remember those people who are so close to us and yet we miss them so dearly. We recite our own individual Yizkor right now. Take as much time as you need, and we'll come back together with music in just a moment. may still continue your Yizkor prayers. We're going to be turning to page 318, Rising for El Malei Rachamim. El Malei Rachamim shochen bameromim המצא מנוחה נכונה תחת כנפי השכינה עם קדושים וטהורים כזוהר הרקיע מזהירים את נשמת יקירינו שהלכו לעולמם בעל הרחמים יסתירם בסתר כנפיו לעולמים ויצרור בצרור החיים את נשמתם אדוני הוא נחלתם וינוחו ושלום על משכבם ונאמר Amen. Fully compassionate God on high, to our loved ones who have entered eternity, grant clear and certain rest with you in the lofty heights of the sacred and pure, whose brightness shines like the very glow of heaven. Source of mercy, forever enfold them in the embrace of your wings, secure their souls in eternity. We say together, Adonai, they are yours, they will rest in peace. Amen. We now turn, as we remain standing, to page 322 for Aleinu. Aleinu leshabeach ladon hakol, latet gedula leotzer breshit, shelo asanu kegoye haratzot, velo samanu kemishpachot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkeinu kahem, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. Page 327. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד. We remain standing for Kaddish Yatom. We turn to page 334. If there's anybody who feels like you would like to say the name of one person for whom you're saying Kaddish today on this Yizkor, I would love to hear those names now. You could just raise your hand and Bev? Joseph Sanders. Thank you. Anybody? Thank you. Thank you. No. Norman. Anybody else? Any other names? We say those names and we have their presence reverberating in our hearts, and we say Kaddish together. Yitzgadol v'yitzkadash shmei rabbah, be'olma divrach hirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon u'yomechon u'v'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, ba'agala u'vizman kariv v'yimru amen. Yehei shmei rabbah bevorach le'olam elomei maya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitba'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei d'kudsha brichu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, da'amiran bi'olma v'imru amen, yehi shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen, oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol yoshvei tevel ve'imru. Amen. Beautiful. Oseh shalom bimrama, hu yaseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imru, imru, amen. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, ya'aseh shalom, ya'aseh shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Chag Sameach. Who wants matzah? Let's go get some. Thank you all so much for being here. I hope you stay for lunch. Please do. We'll make Kiddush out here, friends. Oh my God.